Well, the presidential state visit to Japan is very significant. Its importance lies in the fact that it affirms our commitment to further strengthen our economic partnership with Japanese government as well as the Japanese private sector companies. This morning, we have met with 11 major Japanese companies that have investments in the Philippines, and the dialogue has enabled our Japanese partners to air their concerns and for us on the Philippine side to explain what we're doing to resolve their concerns. The most important insight is the fact that almost all the companies said that their operation in the Philippines is very important in the whole scheme of things for each of the companies. They have locations in other countries, but the Philippines is one of the most important locations for most of those companies. The other thing that became very clear is that all are looking forward to making additional investments in the Philippines by way of expansion and by way of strengthening their R&D work in the Philippines, in our country. I think that's very important. And the Japanese companies have also emphasized that with their added investments, they'll be able to employ more Filipinos. A few of the companies said that they are themselves helping in the training of their Filipino employees, so that the Filipino employees in their companies would be in a position to assume higher level positions. Well, under PDP 2023-2028, our goal is to transform the Philippine economy into one that's export oriented, industrial-driven economy. And the Japanese companies that are present in the Philippines are all in manufacturing operation. And their operation or operations will definitely contribute to this effort to transform the economy to an industry-led development. Well, we will try to sustain it to the extent we can. Of course, there are many challenges which are global in nature, over which we do not have full control. And the way we will sustain it is, of course, by attracting more investments into the country, particularly from countries that have already long experience in making investments and running operations in the Philippines, like Japan. So that's how we will go about it.
We're very thankful to the President for making time for the tourism stakeholders of Japan, because this demonstrates that tourism really is a priority under the Marcos administration, and that the potential that Philippines and Japan hold in terms of exchanges in tourism is something that we have yet to fully maximize and will do so under his administration. So we shared our plans and programs under the Marcos administration with regard to how we intend to develop further the Japanese market, considering that prior to the pandemic, over 682,000 Japanese came into the Philippines. We are aware that they have an interest in certain tourism product offerings, including dive, as well as health and wellness, and English as a second language. And so to ensure accessibility and connectivity into the Philippines, we shared the efforts of the administration to engage in routes development negotiations so that we would be able to resume the flights that were halted prior to the pandemic, as well as add more flights, not only to Manila, but to other key destinations, including Cebu and other areas in the Philippines. We were also quite pleased to hear the insights of the Japanese stakeholders that expressed growing optimism for our offerings of English as a second language, recognizing the faculty of Filipinos for English. And so the effort under the Marcos administration is to ensure that we would make it as seamless as possible for us to entice more students to study in the Philippines. And that will entail our coordination with the Bureau of Immigration to be able to relax and liberalize policies in this regard. Our president also led the charge to ensure that travel advisories that are existing against the Philippines imposed by the government of Japan would be lifted, if not relaxed, especially considering the very stable peace and order situation of our country in areas including Mindanao. And so this exchange of ideas and opportunity to listen to the tourism stakeholders of Japan gave opportunities for our government to ensure that, and in the President's words, not only do we recover the Philippines' position, but transform the Philippine economy and tourism industry post-pandemic.
Sinabi din ng ating Pangulo na mahalaga yung partnership between the ship owners and Filipino seafarers. Dahil sa ating kasaysayan, ang unang-unang OFW, sabi ng ating Pangulo, ay isang mandaragat o isang seafarer. Kaya doon naman sa Department of Migrant Workers, magbubukas tayo ng Japan Desk para lahat ng concerns ng mga Japanese ship owners, pati mga land-based employers dito sa bansang Hapon, ay diretso na sa amin sa Office of the Secretary at titiyakin namin na walang red tape at magiging maayos ang pagproseso. And yun ang tinatawag naman din ng ating Pangulo na dapat may whole of government approach sa pagtulong sa mga international partners ng ating bansa, lalo na ng ating mga OFWs. Kaya binanggit din niya na kaya nandoon si House Speaker Martin Romualdez at si Senate President Juan Miguel Zubiri para pakinggan at tumulong din sa executive branch sa pagpanday ng mga batas na makakatulong sa ating mga Filipino seafarers.
It is always good to have this contact that we are having now, especially between our two parliamentary bodies, in the constant coordination and discussion between our two legislatures is an important part of the continuing relationship of Japan and the Philippines. Japan remains as one of our most important bilateral partners. You are the second largest source of investment for the Philippines, second biggest trading partner to the Philippines, and the top source of development assistance. And you have been a reliable partner for the Philippines, not only in the past few years, but for a very, very long time, ever since we established the diplomatic relations in the 1950s.
Una sa lahat, napakahalaga ng sama natin sa Japan dahil they're our second largest trading partner. Our economies are beneficial to one another. They provide one of the largest foreign aid to the Philippines and very, very soft loans that are used now for building our railways. Yung ating metro subway system na yan sa Metro Manila, that's a Japanese funded project, and several others. very important projects for the country. Kaya napakahalaga nitong bisita ng ating Pangulo dito sa bansang ito. It shows that early on in his presidency, that he gives priority, of course, to our friendship with Japan. And that will, of course, highlight the next 5.5 years of our president, coming, of course, into terms with all our projects and programs that will help our economy be lifted up from the pandemic levels, as well as infrastructure development.
We now have a ceremony to exchange a series of documents between Japan and the Republic of the Philippines.
And the Philippines.
First, exchange of an EN concerning the North-South Commuter Railway Extension Project Phase 2 and an EN concerning the NSCR Malolos-Tutuban Project Phase 2. The ENs will be exchanged by Honorable Hayashi, Minister of Foreign Affairs, and Honorable Manado, Secretary of Foreign Affairs.
The North-South Commuter Railway Extension Project Phase 2 and exchange of notes concerning the North-South Commuter Railway Project Malolos-Tutuban Project Phase 2. Both notes will be exchanged by Foreign Minister Hayashi and Foreign Secretary Manalo.
Next, exchange of loan agreements for the NSCR Extension Project Phase 2 and for the NSCR Malolos-Tutuban Project Phase 2 by Dr. Tanaka, President of JICA, and Honorable Diogno, the Secretary of Finance.
For the North-South Commuter Railway Extension Project Phase 2 and the loan agreement for the North-South Commuter Railway Malolos-Tutuban Project Phase 2. Both documents will be exchanged by Mr. Tanaka, President of JICA, and Finance Secretary Di Cuono.
Next, exchange of a TOR concerning the humanitarian assistance and disaster relief activities of the Japan SDF by Honorable Hamada, Minister of Defense, and Honorable Galvez, the Secretary Designate of National Defense.
The Japan Ministry of Defense and a Philippine Department of National Defense on concerning the humanitarian assistance and disaster relief activities of the Japan Self-Defense Forces in the Philippines. Defense Minister Hamada and Defense Secretary Designate Galvez will exchange the documents.
Next, exchange of memorandum of cooperation between Japan's Ministry of Agriculture, Forestry and Fisheries and the Department of Agriculture by Honorable Nomura, Minister of MAF, and Honorable Panganiban, Senior Undersecretary, Department of Agriculture.
Japan's Ministry of Agriculture, Forestry and Fisheries, and the Philippine Department of Agriculture. Agricultural Minister Nomura and Senior Agriculture Undersecretary Panganiban will exchange the memoranda.
Next, memorandum of cooperation on ICT between the Ministry of Internal Affairs and Communication and the Department of ICT will be exchanged by Honorable Matsumoto, Minister of Internal Affairs and Communication, and Honorable Manalo, Secretary of Foreign Affairs.
The Philippine Department of Information and Communications Technology, Internal Affairs and Communications Minister Matsumoto, and Foreign Secretary Manalo will exchange the memoranda.
Thank you. Let us now move on to the joint press announcement by Japan and the Philippines.
To the Japan-Philippines joint press conference.
Prime Minister Kishida will speak first, followed by remarks by President Marcos.
First, I would like to invite Prime Minister Kishida to speak, followed by President Marcos.
In this year of the 50th anniversary of Japan-ASEAN Friendship and Cooperation, I extend my heartfelt welcome to President Marcos for his first visit to Japan as president. Philippines is Japan's neighbor across the ocean and is a strategic partner sharing fundamental values. Today, discussion was held with President Marcos on bilateral cooperation on economy, security and defense, and people-to-people exchange and deepening of cooperation in wide-ranging areas were strongly affirmed.
Enjoyed this video? Hit the like button and share with your friends. Also, subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. Thanks for watching.